Good morning and welcome to Boast-Cast, episode number 6. Today we are interviewing a YouTuber that goes by the name Headbanger's Kitchen. Very successful YouTuber, he has a lot of good information, but before we dive into that, we want to talk a little bit about our sponsors. And today this episode is brought to you by Earbolts, specifically the Nub speaker. It's the loudest Bluetooth speaker and the smallest on the market that we know of. And if you want to check it out, we actually are offering a discount code. Each of you watching today, if you want to check it out, link is in the description. Go and buy yourself a Nub speaker. These things are amazing and you won't be disappointed. All right, you ready to get into this, Adam?
Let's get into it.
First off and foremost, I just want to get an explanation to who you are. If you could just introduce yourself to the audience watching.
Sure, my name is Sahil Makhija, though I'm better known in India as the Demon Stealer because I play in a death metal band and that's been my stage name for the last 18 years. And I am more recently known for my work in the ketogenic diet space with my YouTube channel Headbanger's Kitchen, where I cook up keto dishes on the show. And yeah, sometimes I do vlogs and other keto related info videos as well.
Oh, very nice. Awesome. So to start off, I just want to ask, what inspired you to create a YouTube cooking channel initially?
So I've been following my sort of dream to be a metal musician for the last sort of 18 years now. And about 10 years into it, I kind of had a sort of Facebook cooking blog that was doing really well. And it was around that time, in around 2010, when YouTube got really big in India. Like everyone had a broadband connection, so it was much easier to get online, watch videos. And because I was still cooking, even though, because that's been one of my passions as well, I was constantly watching recipe videos, and I thought to myself, since I'm writing up recipes and putting pictures on Facebook, why don't I, make a video series out of it? And of course, everything in my life revolves around my band. So I was like, this is also a great way to promote my band. I can make a show out of it. So cook a dish, get a metal band on the show, interview them, have them taste the food. And then, hopefully that will spiral into something interesting and, people will know who I am as a host and they might be interested to listen to my music, I guess. So
right.
that's how I started out the show.
Yeah. That's a lot of detail, actually. I was wondering, so you had the internet connection basically established in 2010, you said. So you're already going on about 10 years already.
Yeah, see, we've had the internet since the 90s. It's not like the internet came in, but we had, the dial-up modems and things like that. So we didn't have really the ability to surf on YouTube for a long amount of time.
Oh, okay. I got that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the broadband connections came in later. That's when the speed was like reasonable and you could stream stuff online.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it as you were going through that, but you were at first were just interviewing bands and uploading cooking videos to start with, or what kind of videos were your first content to the channel?
So we started out as a proper show actually. There was I had conceptualized the show with a guy called Srinivas who was the director of my band's first music video, and he was just starting his production company. So I told him, look, I want to film my videos and put them on YouTube, and I have this idea to do it like a cooking show with an interview of a metal band, and they'll taste the food. And we conceptualized Headbanger's Kitchen as a legit heavy metal cooking show. And the first video that we uploaded was the actual cooking and interview. So it was, because at that time I think we couldn't upload more than 15 minutes. We had to break it up into like three parts. So we had this band from Dubai called Nerve Cell on the show, and I cooked up some beef burgers for them, and we basically uploaded the cooking section and the interview section across 3 videos, and that was the first content that I put up.
Oh, very nice. That's a really unique idea, honestly. I would never have thought about that, to kind of combine 2 of your biggest passions to just one entity and gain an audience because of it. So the question that I have next is describe how the audience evolved your channel based on the content you were first uploading. Were you trying to fulfill what the audience wanted, or what basically motivated you to primarily do cooking recipes and dietary information, stuff like that?
Sure. So, like I said, when I started the channel, it was just there was no plan of making this a living or doing it full time. It was literally like, I like to cook, I don't mind doing these videos, and in the process, I hopefully my band will get promoted as well. And I kind of followed this format for a long time actually. So the heavy metal cooking format, as it started, it got popular, at least among the local community. Of course, there was the usual metalheads who go crazy and go like, this is not metal, cooking is such a non-metal thing to do. And I mean, it's like little over enthusiastic kids losing their shit over it.
Yeah.
But largely people appreciated it. And I did this for almost 5 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 2011 we uploaded the first video. 2015 is, I think, when I actually said I'm done with this now, because I did it for 5 years. The production company that was doing it for me initially, they left after a year because they were not able to monetize it, and they couldn't spend their resources doing this for free.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And at that time and I hadn't really understood YouTube revenue and how to be a YouTuber as such. So, and I did it once a month because I still had a day job. I was running a record label. I was organizing metal shows in my city. I was recording albums with 3 bands of mine. So this literally couldn't be more than a fun thing on the side.
Wow.
And so I in fact I even crowdfunded one season of it, which used to be like 12 episodes across 1 year. And kind of in 2015 I said to myself, look, this is really not growing. Like, I mean, it was growing, but it was at a snail's pace. I think in 5 years we had reached 4,000 subscribers. Your average video views were 2,000 to 3,000. So I kind of felt that it was not worth it, and I was wasting my time when I should be spending that time focusing on actually recording more music, promoting the band, anything to do with the band.
Yeah, and go ahead.
So I kind of said, okay, I'm done. I'm going to do cooking videos when I feel like, and I'm going to do it just by myself in my kitchen. Because prior to this, I used to do it in my living room, where I would move all the furniture, I would bring out a table, I would bring the portable gas connection, set up a stove, and it was a proper production with lights and everything. So I said, I'm not going to do this anymore, it's too much work. I'm just going to shoot it in my kitchen by myself, edit it, upload it. And it was around this time that I was doing the keto diet. So I said, since I'm making all these fancy things like cauliflower pizza and cauliflower rice, I said, I need to film this stuff and put it up. And literally, it just took off from there. Like 2016, around March, April, it started growing. And the next thing you know is like 10,000 subscribers, 20, 30, 40, 50. And now I'm at 170,000.
Wow.
I think it's just the fact that people were watching it. The revenue started coming in through YouTube. It started to make sense that this is something I could actually do. And since I enjoyed making the videos, I just continued with it.
Yeah, and I actually noticed too that 1 year ago you had 20,000 subs, and 1 year later, today you have 175,000. So it really shows how your content really blew up like in a short span of time versus like how you spent 4 years just getting to the first 4,000. Like, it's crazy how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that has a lot to do with the demographic of the people as well. Like, because I'm based in India, my new content when I was doing the metal stuff would not really show up anywhere else in the world,
Mm-hmm.
But now with the keto stuff, because I think I'm one of the few people doing only keto recipes, it's kind of showing up in related searches for people, which is why it's blown up with because my audience is largely American.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I've always wondered too, do you like a lot of channels that are based outside the US, like, because we're in the US, do you upload mainly on US prime time, like 5 o'clock in the United States, or is it mainly like 5 o'clock in India when you're uploading?
Well, I upload at around 7:30 p.m. India time. I'm normally really bad with scheduling stuff. But the thing is, even if I upload it now, doesn't matter. Whatever time somebody wakes up in the US, they'll get the notification if they have subscribed and turned that bell icon on or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
That's really interesting. We were wondering about that ourselves because we worked with international YouTubers as well, and we were just kind of wanting to get more clarification on that. That's really cool, though.
Yeah. So I kind of watched like 100 of these videos on how to grow your YouTube channel. And so I kind of realized what really matters is largely you setting a schedule. Then it doesn't matter because everybody will adjust and figure it out accordingly. So if I upload a video at 7:30 p.m. every Monday and Wednesday Indian Standard Time, it doesn't matter. The Americans will wake up to it. The Australians will get it in the night. So because the entire world is going to get it whenever they get onto YouTube and check out for stuff.
Yeah, so as long as you're consistent through your own nature, then it'll just play over. Okay. Something I was also wondering, you kind of said that you started doing the ketogenic recipes in 2015. Were you ever doing like non-ketogenic recipes before then on your channel, or have you always just been based towards that? Okay, yeah.
No, like I said, that's what before that it was just normal food, the food that I like to eat, because nobody even knew keto back then. Like keto was not even a thing.
That's very true. Yeah. It just kind of hit the mainstream right in that time too. So you jumped on it like right before it was about to blow up, it seems like.
Yeah, like I said, it's simply right time and right place, I guess.
Perfect.
Was the diet already mainstream like when you started it, or was it kind of something you found and like then it blew up? Not that saying you made it famous, but like was it just something underground when you found it?
So I found it through a bandmate of mine who was doing it. And again, at that time, nobody knew about the keto diet. Like, I had not seen any mentions of it online, nothing. And I actually was quite skeptical about it. I told my bandmate that, look, you're going to get a heart attack and die. when he said I'm eating high fat and I'm not eating any carbs, and I was like, dude, you're just going to like get a heart attack and die. And at that time, even the research wasn't really out. So even he didn't really understand the science of what he was doing. But he just got it from a dietitian and he did it and he lost like 30 kilos.
Oh, wow.
So my wife, who doesn't like to exercise, she's like, I want to lose some weight. This diet sounds right up my alley. So she got on it, but she made the effort of researching it, understanding the science behind it. And when she explained it to me and I saw her lose 10 kilos, I was like, oh man, I'm getting on board this.
Wow, yeah. You have to kind of like do the research, but that's funny that your friend just lucked out with it. He just went into it blind and came out the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing with most people, I feel, who want to lose weight. They don't really want to research stuff. They kind of want someone to give them a paper saying this is what you have to eat at this time, and they want to follow that. And that's especially true in India, at least. I definitely know that most people who are even on my channel, who follow me on Instagram, there are constant messages of, can you give me a diet plan, a written diet plan of what I should eat? I'm like, no, don't be so lazy. Go and Google it.
That's so real.
They want you to do all the work for them. They're like, yay, I'm subscribed to you. You owe me one. Hook me up with a diet plan.
Well, I'm sure a lot of them would be actually willing to pay me for it. That's the other thing. Because they don't expect it for free. If I tell them, I'll charge you 10,000 rupees for it, they'll probably be like, okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
But I don't want to be a personal dietitian to anybody.
Now, have you done that in the
sounds
past?
like
Like with your channel, like do you give out advice, like, or is it mainly just the recipes? Is that what you're focused on?
So it's a toss up. Like I said, when I started, I was not full keto. I was just doing these recipes because I was on keto. Then I actually broke off and I went vegan for like 2 weeks just because. And I blogged that experience. Then I got back on keto. Then I kind of went off keto and started doing non-keto recipes. And actually, that's the time when people started saying, "This is a good recipe. How can I make it keto?" And the influx of comments saying, "Can we get more keto recipes?" is what kind of made me say, okay, let's do it. Let's give people more keto recipes. I got back on keto myself. And then it kind of really took off. And then I started doing things like the egg fast and I would vlog that. Then last year I did the carnivore diet for 10 days and vlogged that. And this year I was like, okay, I need to get my shit together. So Mondays and Wednesdays are recipe videos, and Friday I upload an advice video or a keto 101 or any kind of non-recipe video that I choose to put out.
That's a really interesting upload schedule. So you do about 3 videos per week usually?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the plan since January this year. Yes.
That's really good to keep it consistent. For the audience and some people that don't know, what is the egg fast that you mentioned?
Yeah, so the egg fast is basically you eat anywhere from 8 to 12 eggs in a day with, I think,
Wow.
2 ounces of cheese with each egg that you're eating, or with each meal, and some fat. I can't remember the exact thing, but let me just save them the trouble. I did it twice, and both times I gave up in 4 days, and I honestly don't think it's worth it.
Wow.
That is
Do you
not
have
what
your
I
own chicken at
expected.
that point? Like, man, you're going to the grocery store every day for eggs.
Yeah, that's a whole carton basically.
Yeah, so I mean, look, what it basically does is it brings you down to an almost zero carb diet, and it sort of heightens the process of ketosis, and it helps a lot of people break a stall that they might be on. But it's just another very restrictive kind of way of eating, which once you go off again, you'll put back that weight, because the problem with most people is sustaining these things for a long period of time.
Sure. Something I wanted to get more information on. Do you personally miss anything that you can't have on the keto diet?
Oh, absolutely! I won't lie, and I have gone off keto many times over the last 2 years. For certain periods. So I really do like pizza, which I actually, before keto, I wasn't so big on pizza, and in fact, it's only in the last year, I think, because of my wife, who loves to have her pizza on Friday night, is that I've suddenly gotten into like this. I want pizza as well.
That would be genius if you could incorporate like a keto pizza recipe. If you could come up with that, man, you're set for life.
So we have 3 already.
Do you really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, in keto, you're replacing the bread, and obviously when I say pizza, it's not the sauce and the toppings that I miss; it's the bread that I actually miss.
Okay, what supplement do you replace that with and then?
So we have one recipe where you take cauliflower, you grate it, you mix it with some cheese and eggs, and you make a pizza crust out of cauliflower.
Oh, okay.
Which is not bad. Yeah, it's not bad, and especially when you just start keto and you just want something that feels like a pizza, that's great. Then we have a meat crust where the entire crust is made out of meat. So you can use a meat of your choice, chicken or beef or pork, whatever you like, ground meat basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like how you made those noodles, those meat protein noodles.
Yeah, the meat noodles.
I gotta try that. That looks really delicious.
Yeah, that's actually pretty tasty as well, so.
Yeah.
And the third pizza crust we do is a cheese based crust with almond flour. It's called the fathead crust.
That one sounds pretty good, actually. Is it probably pretty like crispy and just super decadent?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's actually
I feel that.
out of all 3, that is the most legit crust of the lot.
Oh, for sure. You mentioned that you've always kind of had a love for cooking, but initially, what got you into cooking, and where did you gain the experience that you have to be able to create a YouTube channel and be able to give the advice that you do?
Okay, so I have to go back a long way in time for this, because I actually started cooking when I was my earliest memory is at, I think, 11 or 12 years of age.
Oh, wow.
I had gone on a vacation with my parents and their friends. There were about 13 people on that trip, and I cooked breakfast for all 13 people.
At 11 years old?
Yeah,
Wow.
at 11 or 12, I took eggs to order, and I just cooked up breakfast for everybody. And at that time in my school, we used to have something called a hobby period.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was 7th or 8th grade. I took cooking as a hobby, and at that point, I actually wanted to become a chef as like my career and open my own restaurant and things like that. So I was already into food because I don't know, I guess I like to eat, so I started to learn to cook. And my grandfather is a really good cook, so was my grandmother from my father's side. And I think being surrounded by good food and good cooks made me kind of want to just... And in my house, there was no restriction that like, okay, you can't cook because you're a boy or any such thing, So yeah, I just started cooking, and I took it from there. And I guess over the years, I just never stopped learning. Like, I constantly watch YouTube videos, and I always cook most of my own meals if I can, so I'm constantly trying new things and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm curious about something you just said, just like for the audience information, and just because I'm curious too. Like, is that a big thing where you grew up, like, guys and boys weren't supposed to cook? Like, it's mainly just supposed to be the girls? Or, like, is it just, like, something that wasn't really that big of a deal?
You know how it is. I mean, I think it's a global thing. A lot of people, like, oh, boys shouldn't play with dolls, or boys shouldn't be in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And that is it's a conservative attitude, and it's quite prevalent in India. And I guess for me it was not there because my parents were rather modern and way ahead of their time. In fact, my entire family, I think, was like that. So yeah, I guess I was never sort of deterred from pursuing any sort of activity that I like. Because when I took that cooking class in school, there was just 3 boys in that class,
Oh, wow, yeah. I can imagine. They kind of follow the stereotypes, but you broke the norm, and you have 175,000 followers because of it. You just followed what kept you happy through it all, basically.
Yeah, I mean, look, even today, if there's a man who cooks in the house, not as a profession, I'm not talking about a professional chef, but if there's a bunch of guys meeting, and one of the guys says, oh, I cook dinner for my wife every day when she comes home from work, you know what's going to happen. He's going to get ripped on because he's doing the womanly stuff,
Oh, sure, yeah. It's very true.
I mean, it's the unfortunate way society is, and of course we're hopefully changing for the better, where it doesn't matter who cooks and who does the laundry and who does whatever else.
Oh, I agree 100%. Yeah. So as you said, you started cooking at a very young age, but throughout that time, how has your cooking style evolved over the years?
Oh, it's really evolved. So I've always been, because I don't like spicy food. I don't like spicy food, and I do love my meat. So I've always been a kind of fast food guy. So I love cooking pizzas, burgers, continental kind of food, right? And I say continental because in India, everything that was not Indian or Chinese was clubbed under continental. So European, American, British, everything fell under what we call continental cuisine. So you could say I kind of liked eating that food, so I liked cooking that food. And over the years, I would say my first evolution was when I realized that burgers from McDonald's and Burger King were not real burgers, and they were horrible. And you could make a really good gourmet burger at home.
Definitely.
And that was my first upgrade in cooking. And then when I started the show, I actually because I had international musicians on the show, I kind of realized it didn't make sense to feed them European food or American food because they eat that all the time. And it made sense to feed them Indian food. So that's when I actually started evolving and learning to cook Indian food. And now I can say I do a pretty decent job of making Indian food.
That's really cool that you just stuck to your roots, basically, for the most part, and gave them something unique to where you come from. So that's really cool that you could do that. Do you have an all-time favorite keto recipe?
Sure, I do, but it keeps changing. So, let me see. What is my? Well, I think. Okay. If I have to pick one thing, I think it would be a good steak. That's my favorite keto food.
I'm with that.
That never goes out of fashion. A good steak with a nice knob of butter on it.
Beautiful. And now, what would you say is your least favorite?
Well, I would say, I don't know if there's anything taste-wise that I don't like, but like I wouldn't make a cauliflower pizza again.
Oh, really?
Probably ever.
It's a one-time thing.
Yeah, I think I'm done with cauliflower pizzas because I really like cauliflower in rice dishes, like when it substitutes rice. So that's what I really enjoy.
Okay. That makes sense. It seems like it'd be kind of hard to hold together. Or was that not the problem you were having, or?
No, that's not the problem. The problem is you have to first rice the cauliflower, then you have to cook the cauliflower, then you have to squeeze out all the water from the cauliflower, then you have to put all the eggs and cheese in it, then you have to bake it once, then you have to flip it over, bake it again.
Wow.
And then you can...
That's a process.
Yeah, it's so much harder than going to Domino's and just picking up a pizza.
Exactly. But listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Domino's starts a cauliflower crust pizza in the next 2 years.
Have you seen a lot? I'm curious. Have you seen a lot of restaurants in your area like picking up on the keto diet, like recipes that are specifically for it, or is it not really that mainstream yet?
Well, not every restaurant, but there are certain places that have started doing like keto menus. So they'll have a special small menu with keto items on it, and a lot of food delivery services have started actually.
Okay.
Like companies that you can pay them a monthly fee and they'll deliver 3 keto meals to you every day and things like that.
Oh wow.
That's really
easy.
yeah, that's a good idea actually. Do you find that it's kind of difficult to go out to restaurants now that you're on the keto diet in the past couple of years? Is it pretty difficult to find a place that you enjoy?
Yeah, I get. So I don't really go out much at all because I always end up cooking at home, and I'm just not very social, so to speak. But yes, it definitely is a sort of problem for a lot of people. Not at every single restaurant, but like if you go and eat at say a Chinese restaurant, it's kind of hard, you know. Because everything is sort of batter coated and fried, or there's corn flour in the sauce, or it's just rice and noodles. But if you go to like a steak place, it's not a big problem.
Yeah.
If you go to a restaurant that has a hamburger menu, you can just ask for a bunless burger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you supplement for the bun usually? Do you use like lettuce wraps, or what kind of stuff do you use so you can still enjoy a burger?
Yeah, so I mean, I normally just eat it with lettuce. I just have a lettuce slice on top and one at the bottom. But I went to a restaurant in the city of Bangalore in India recently, and they had a cauliflower bun, which was quite decent.
Wow. I didn't know that cauliflower was so versatile. Like,
yeah, cauliflower is what I call the new potato on keto. It's the new potato, it's the new rice, like literally everything cauliflower on keto.
That's really cool. So to date, would you still publish non-keto recipes to your YouTube, or are you just strictly YouTube from here on? I mean, straight on keto from here on out?
Yeah, from the last year, it's basically been keto recipes because I realized that's what my audience is there for.
Exactly.
So, maybe in the future I could do another channel. Look, because the thing is, I don't know how long keto will be a thing. To be really honest.
Sure.
And that's the thing with all kinds of diets and lifestyles. I mean, there will always be people doing it, but the sort of the mass scale following that it has, I don't know how long that will last. Because we've had paleo, we've had Atkins, we've had low carb, we've had veganism, everything.
Yeah, it's an evolving market.
Yeah, so now I don't know if you've heard, there's also a carnivore diet and carnivore way of living, which is like only meat basically.
Man.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. It sounds like a upset stomach to me.
Yeah, really. After a while.
Well, so I did it. It's just you don't go as often as you normally go, and well, yeah.
I gotcha. That's interesting. Yeah, it's weird that people are trying all these new, unique diets. Like, it seems like in the last 10 years, like you said. Or did you ever try and follow any other trends before the keto diet?
So I mean, I've done that. I don't know if you've ever heard of the General Motors diet.
I have not.
But but that was like this diet plan that came out in the 90s, and it was like the crash diet for everyone. I think I must have done it about 4 times, but every time you gain the weight back, it was like this.
I gotcha.
1 week of eating 1 day of fruits only, 1 day of vegetables only, 1 day potato only. So and in general, the thing I did most was calorie counting, which is where I lost most of my weight actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I hear a lot of people get most of their success. It's just the most accurate.
Yeah, I mean, even with keto, you do at some point need to eat a little less than you're going to burn in a day, because if you stuff your face, you're just going to get fat no matter what.
Sure. So that leads me to my next question. What words of advice would you give to somebody that wants to follow the keto diet but is kind of on the fence and they don't really know if they can commit to it? What would you tell them?
What I would say is, if you have trouble committing, you might want to start with small changes in your life. It could be as simple as just cutting out all the sugar that you eat. I mean, that alone will make you lose weight. You could also go low carb and sort of cut down the carbs slowly and then dive into the keto lifestyle, because keto is high fat and it does take some kind of commitment, because you're kicking your body in and out of a metabolic state if you cheat on the keto diet, and it takes your body a good week to 10 days to actually understand what is going on and actually get adapted to burning fat for fuel. So yeah, definitely, if you can't commit, just break yourself into it slowly.
Okay. All right. Something else that I think the audience would love to hear about. So your most popular video on your channel is how to make cloud eggs. Did you expect that to be a very, very popular video, or whenever you put it out, was it just something that you were trying to test out?
So here's the thing. I found out that cloud eggs was an Instagram trend going around.
Ooh, very
And
smart.
I was like, let me see if I can jump on the viral bandwagon. Let me see if it's actually worth the hype. I did the video, I uploaded it, and exploded.
Wow, so that was anticipated then. That was
It was planned.
Yeah, it was a planned video. I had no idea it was going to be my first video to get 1 million views.
How long did it take?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I'm curious, from when you put it up.
I think a year. It's
Okay.
taken a year.
Okay, so it's been pretty consistent then throughout that time, because it, like, just the thumbnail alone, it has clickbait written all over it, which is like,
It's a good looking picture.
Yeah, I'm glad the pictures are
Yeah.
good.
Do you take the pictures yourself, or are those more online that you find?
No, I do all the pictures
Beautiful.
myself. Basically, everything on Headbanger's Kitchen is original.
Okay. What camera are you using to take those pictures? Because they look really good.
So I think for those pictures I used my Canon 650D.
oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. It takes a nice picture for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It definitely does.
Yeah, I would credit the lighting in my kitchen as well. Actually.
Okay, so you
gotta
gotta
get
give the
light
wife
set
some
up.
credit there too. Then for I don't know who picked out the lighting in
Yeah.
the house. Whoever did get some credit too.
Well, I'll have to thank the sun for that, because this is mostly natural.
Oh,
Okay.
that's the
Wow.
best. That's what you got to ask for. Yeah.
It's lucky.
So, I kind of want to evolve the question now. We've been talking about food and some of your experiences, how you got into YouTube. Something I want to evolve the conversation towards is your band and music in general. So,
Sure.
what role do you play in your band? Are you the singer? What instruments do you play? What stuff like that? That's my first question.
All right, so let me break it down. I am the singer and rhythm guitar player in my band Demonic Resurrection. I also did that in a comedy rock band that I used to play in called Workshop, and I also do that in my solo work. And I do play drums in another death metal band of mine called Reptilian Death, and on records I have played keyboard parts and bass as well in many of these projects. So yeah.
So, where can we find your music? I was kind of looking through your
So on my Headbanger's Kitchen website, headbangerskitchen.com, I've actually put a Spotify playlist on the right hand side where I've put literally all these bands of mine. So it's in one place where you can at least sample the music, and then of course if you Google or YouTube the band names, you will find the videos and the links to the music.
All right. That's we'll look into that definitely. And we'll even leave a link in the description to find your website, Headbanger's Kitchen, so for the audience watching, they can go easily find it.
Awesome.
And something I was wondering, where did these names come from? Because they all kind of like follow the same like kind of like
Death metal trend.
dark death metal trend, but they're really like unique in their own fashion. So what kind of gets these to
Okay, so here's the thing. When I started out, of course, as you know, metal is always about singing about the dark side of life and not being afraid to voice your opinion, and it's not about singing about roses and love like pop stuff does, and not watered down sugary stuff. It's the real deal. So the aspect I really dug about metal was the fantasy side, which is what a lot of power metal bands sing about, which is demons and dragons and dungeons and castles and princes and all that stuff, Basically think Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and put that into music. So from that aspect, I kind of came up with Demonic Resurrection. I sat down with a thesaurus and I knew what I wanted. I knew the kind of imagery I had in my head, like, medieval times, demons and warriors, and that was my space. So I came up with Demonic Resurrection. I made sure at that point I had Googled to make sure there was no band with the same name, and that's how Demonic Resurrection was born. I used to listen to a lot of black metal at the time, and most black metal musicians have a stage name, and a lot of these stage names are from Lord of the Rings or from mythology, European mythology, Nordic mythology. And I at that time was not a very well-read teenager, so I was like, what do I call myself? I was like, I don't know how these guys come up with these crazy names.
Yeah.
There were guys like Shagrath, Silinos, Galder, Danny Filth, Nurgle. So I was like, okay, maybe I should call myself like Demon Slayer. And I thought about it for a while, realized it was way too cheesy. So I came up with Demon Stealer.
There you go. Yeah.
That's good that you were able to realize, even as a teenager, you're like, yeah, I can't go with this. It's too cheesy. I gotta at least have a name that I could use for a while.
Yeah, and that's cool that you're still using it to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's sort of once you're 5-6 years into a stage name, you don't really want to get rid of
that's
it.
the thing.
It's kind
For
of your
sure.
identity.
Yeah. So all the names that you've had like throughout the years with your bands, like those are all original names. Like you haven't changed them at all.
No, never. So Reptilian Death was actually born out of a sort of spoof idea. So at the time when I formed the project Reptilian Death, it was actually to sort of do a humorous death metal project. So I was like, it sounded pretty funny, Reptilian Death, like a reptile dying, or death by a reptile. So that name stuck. Workshop, I can't remember how we named it. I think because we did a guitar workshop where I was teaching people about guitar and showing them some brands of the ESP guitar which we had just imported with the company I worked for. And we just decided to call that project Workshop because it was born from that. And what other project? That's all the projects I've been part of. There was one more classic rock band I was playing drums in for a while called Hellwind, which again, original name thought of by the members of the band.
Very cool. Is it pretty difficult to manage all of these different bands? Are they going on all together right now? Or do you focus on one at a time primarily?
No, so back in the day, I was running as many bands as I could because the thing is, in India, nobody does metal music full time. It's not possible. And also because metal is a very niche genre here, and even going for a gig is a very not a regular thing as it is now. Doing like a tour and all didn't exist in India. You literally played when you got a show offer, when somebody was willing to lose money and put up a show. So, or a college was having a festival and they wanted your band. But you would literally play only on the weekends if possible. So I had plenty of free time. So I was like, I can't just be in one band. So I would have all these different musical projects. And I had a job that was pretty easy going. So for me, music has always been my main focus, and I continued it for 18 years now, but unfortunately because it's not a viable career option and because it's just the way it is, a lot of band members came and went from all the projects, so it's not very easy to pursue it when that's happening as well, keeping up with having new members, making sure they're committed. So finally last year I kind of said I'm done with Workshop, Reptilian Death, and I'm only focusing on Demonic Resurrection and my solo project Demon Stealer.
Okay, very cool. So you said that you had to work with different band members. Have you been pretty consistent throughout the years, like having the same guys work with you? Like, do you have some good friends? No. It's been different, huh?
No, every album I think has a different lineup for every band.
Wow, that sounds like such a project to be able to manage all of that. But a good.
Yeah, because like I said, it's not a career option. So somebody joins the band when they're 18, when they're 23, they realize they need to get a job, earn some money, or they've got some other commitment, or they grow out of the music. The reasons are endless.
Very true. So I have kind of a personal question for you. So for your first debut show, performing live, what was going through your head? Can you recall like the emotions, the feelings, the excitement? Can you run us through that?
Sure. I mean, I definitely remember being very, very nervous. And I remember that I wear glasses and I had taken them off for the stage, and the audience just looked like a blur to me. And that show I was just singing. I was not playing guitar, and I just stood on stage like a statue and sung the 4 songs, and then we just went off stage. I didn't really interact with the audience much. I just sang, and yeah, that's it.
Wow. So I'm sure that has evolved as well over the years. I'm sure you get all into it now, and you just like you let go a little bit more whenever you're up on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. You get comfortable on stage. You kind of find your sweet spot. You find your personality, and you just sort of you are who you are on stage.
Very true. Have you ever opened for any like huge heavy metal bands, or have you ever performed with anybody that you can recall that's like pretty mainstream or widely known?
Well, that depends on how far into the metal world people's knowledge exists.
Sure.
But like we opened for Textures and Amon Amarth in India when they played.
Okay.
We opened for Opeth as well.
Wow. How big was that audience?
It's about 2,000 people. No, Opeth was about 5,000
Wow.
people. But we've played to a little more as well, because the thing is, a lot of these shows back in the day in India, they were at colleges. So
I gotcha.
they weren't selling tickets to these bands. It was just the college festival that had a metal band headlining, and everybody got a free pass in college. So literally the entire college would be there for the show.
Okay. And I'm sure you've traveled far and wide with your band and touring and stuff like that. Where's the furthest you've ever traveled to with your band?
So we've done a lot of shows in the UK and in Europe, in a couple of places in Europe, Czech Republic, Germany, Belgium, but mainly around Europe and UK is where we go. The thing is, the US market is really difficult, and I unfortunately haven't been able to find a good booking agent who I could work with. Plus the tickets are more expensive, but it's in my 5-year plan to come to the US. For sure.
Awesome.
Wow, that'd be crazy. Do you know where you want to perform in the U.S., or is it just like wherever your booking manager gets you?
Yeah, wherever he can book us, we'll play as many shows as humanly possible.
Wow, that'd
right
be cool.
on.
Just do a whole tour in the U.S. A lot of people would be into that. The heavy metal scene here is pretty good.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the
Yeah.
US before?
I have not actually.
Oh, really? Is there any like funny
Yep.
stereotypes or anything that you've heard about America that you're kind of like put off towards, or is there anything that you're even excited to experience once you get here?
Oh, I'm going to Franklin's Barbecue in Texas for sure.
Really? What makes you say that?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of Franklin's Barbecue.
Well, you can say one too many YouTube videos of Franklin's Barbecue have shown up in my news feed. But in general, the Texas barbecue scene, I would love to go and experience
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Get some good barbecue out here. Is there a pretty big barbecue scene in India at all, or nothing?
Well, we have an Indian barbecue called the tandoor. So technically, yeah, we have Indian barbecue.
Oh, okay. Very cool. So out of all of your travels throughout the world, basically, what is your favorite place to travel to so far? And where's something that you aspire towards? Is it just Texas, like you said, or is there anywhere else that you just love to visit someday?
Oh man, so I've been watching a lot of this. I'm sure you guys may have heard of David Chang.
Yeah.
Momofuku Noodle Bar in New York.
Yeah, he's big.
I've been watching. Yeah, so I've been watching his recent series called Ugly Delicious, and he basically explores the world and different cuisines. And I literally want to go to every place that he has gone to.
That'd be so cool if like you could reach out to him, and if once he goes to India, maybe you can host him or show him what it's all about. You know?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I would love to do that, but I just think he's too big of a celebrity to get in touch with.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough.
You never know. You're on your way up there. You might be just on his level one of these days soon. You never know.
Well, thank you for those kind words.
Of course, anything that could help inspire you. You know.
Yeah.
But you're also very inspiring as well, and you seem to work very hard on all your ventures that you take part in. What kind of motivates you in your day to day?
I don't know, man. When I started out, it was just the music and just the desire to play heavy metal music, and I literally made my entire life revolve around that. I made every life decision based on how it's going to affect my musical dream or my musical ability. So I don't know, I guess when you wake up in the morning and you know you can't do anything else with your life, you're pretty much stuck and set at the same time.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So what age were you? I'm just curious. What age were you when you like decided, okay, music's my thing. Like I don't want to do anything else.
I was 16 years old.
Wow.
That is really cool.
And I'm 36 now, so it's been
20 years. You stuck to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man, I can't even imagine anything I've done for 20 years consistently. Maybe breathing, but it sounds like you were living, breathing music. So like that was your life. That's what fueled you, like you said. That's really interesting. So is there anything outside of cooking and music that you're really interested in? You said like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, like television series that you're interested in. Just in general, I'm wondering.
I mean, I like to watch the occasional, show on Netflix or on the telly, but I'm not into that. Like, I wouldn't be bothered if I missed an episode of a show or if I missed some movie playing in the cinema. So, yeah, I'm actually pretty sort of one track in that sense. Like, it's food and music, and everything else is, yeah, I'm okay to try stuff once in a while. I'm okay to go for the occasional superhero movie in the cinema, but yeah, other than that, I don't have too many interests actually, to be honest.
And that seems like that's what's kind of helped you throughout your career. It just keeps you focused in a way, it seems like, which is really cool to be.
Yeah, like,
go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm getting a bit into travel these days, you know, but again, it's mainly food travel.
Yeah, I've actually noticed on your channel you've been like going to different places and doing like food demos. Like, how did you get into that?
Oh, so that's actually keto masterclasses that I was doing, and that was just a grocery store that's there in a couple of cities. They're like the Waitrose or the Tesco or the Walmart or the Whole Foods of India.
Okay.
And they basically do cooking demos in the store, and obviously since keto has caught on, and it's something that they are also sort of milking, I guess, you know. I mean, look, if it's a trend, people are going to jump on the bandwagon. So they have a keto section in their store as well. So it kind of made some sense for them to do this keto demo and, you know, educate people about the keto lifestyle so that they come and shop at their store as well.
Very cool. And something else that to finish off the questions. Bless you. I don't know if you sneezed, but
yeah, I did sneeze. Yeah,
no, you're good. Something that I was wondering if you could give to the audience and help them just to become more focused and purely finding their true passions, because it sounds like you found your passions at a very young age and you've been consistent throughout your life. What is the secret that helped you to find these passions at such an early age?
You know, honestly, I don't think there's any secret. It's just what I like to do. Like, I think as a person, you just need to ask yourself, you know, what is it that I like to do? What do I see myself doing for the rest of my life? And for me at that point, it was, playing on stage and writing albums and recording my music and sharing it with the world. And, you know, then you just do everything you can to make that dream a reality.
Wow, yeah.
I'll be very, So I'll say one thing, I'll be very honest. Cooking was a dream of mine when I was, like I said, in the 7th and 8th grade. And that quickly went away, you know. That doesn't mean I didn't want to cook and eat and enjoy good food. It's just that I didn't really aspire to make a career out of it. And honestly, I at no point, even when I was doing Headbanger's Kitchen, I did not aspire to be a YouTuber or a keto chef. Even today, if you ask me, if today somebody came to me and said, Sahil, tomorrow you will give up Headbanger's Kitchen, but you will be able to make a living playing your music, I'll probably take the option to play my music.
Wow.
Yeah. Beautifully spoken.
So for me, the way I look at it, doing the keto recipes and it's helping people. I do enjoy it, definitely. But it's not, I mean, I wake up because I realize, okay, doing this can help me fuel the passion to make music.
Right. Are you doing YouTube full time as of right now?
I am, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that. But moving on, you've been a really great guest, and we're very honored to get to know you. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. To kind of finalize everything, we've been doing this thing where we do a rapid fire series of questions, and just answer as simply and as quickly as you can, because we're just going to jump right into the next one. You up for that?
All right.
All right.
Yep.
So the first question.
Hit me.
All right, here we go. The first question: name the top 3 heavy metal bands of all time for you.
I would say Strapping Young Lad, Dimmu Borgir, Behemoth.
All right. What's your favorite keto meal to make?
Pork fried rice with cauliflower rice.
Delicious. All right. Do you drink soda?
I do not.
All right. What do you drink in replacement of soda? Just water?
I just drink water and black coffee.
I like that diet. What's the weirdest or funniest thing you've ever heard about America?
Well, the weirdest or the funniest? I don't know if I've heard anything weird or funny.
That's good for us then. We'll take that. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard some scary stuff though, but like weird not so much. I mean, it depends on your definition of weird, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yes. I'll tell you what I find weird about America.
Let's hear it.
The kung fu fighters in the mosh pit. That is some weird shit.
There's kung fu fighters? Oh my gosh.
You're
I
saying
never
the
even...
mosh pit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are all these sort of hardcore and deathcore bands where these people get in the pit and they start doing these flying kicks and punches.
Oh my gosh.
And that shit is so weird.
That is.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, it is. I always thought it was weird too. I kind of thought it just came with the heavy metal culture, but I guess you're saying it doesn't.
No. That's not any heavy metal culture for sure.
Okay, that's good to
Some
know
kung fu
then.
kicks.
They're the outcast of it then.
That's too much weed and Jackie Chan.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Okay, and our last and final question for you today. What's your favorite movie ever made that's America-based?
That's America-based. Oh, is Terminator 2 America-based?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Yeah,
I asked that question because I was curious. Like, I know there's like Bollywood in India, so I wanted to see what movies you liked that came out of Hollywood in America.
Right.
Oh no, I hate Bollywood, by the way.
Okay.
I don't like Bollywood at all. But is Lord of the Rings American?
Lord of the Rings? Yeah.
I mean, Peter Jackson, right?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Then Lord of the Rings wins.
We'll fact check it real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was produced in America and then it was just filmed all over the world primarily.
Filmed in Yeah. A lot of it was filmed in New Zealand.
Yeah. That's how you got those epic scenery. That movie's a...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Lord of the Rings would be my
it was
top
in New
movie
Zealand
ever.
and the United States is where they filmed it at. Those two countries.
Awesome. All right. And that concludes episode number 6 of Boast-Cast. We've been really honored to get to know you and get to learn a lot about your information that you have been so generous to share with us. Is there any last words that you'd like to tell the audience watching today?
Well, thank you all for your support and thanks for having me on the show. And if you're curious to hear my music, do check it out and do visit me on headbangerskitchen.com.
All right, awesome. And for you, we're going to leave all the links to your website, your YouTube channel in the description. Make sure and check it out. This has been Boast-Cast, episode number 6. And here we are, Adam Ryan, signing off. Until next time.